Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy is this great, fun, romping adventure unique with a unique twist on the Star Wars universe as we know it. And there's some very important messaging and themes going on. Both a great in-universe theme and out-of-universe theme. So, where to begin because there's so much cool stuff. In order to just like every single cool switch up on the normal formula we know is going to be impossible to do, but I'm going to mention probably the most intriguing stuff, the most story impactful stuff, and the funnest stuff, the best I can, of course. So let's just start with a plot recap. After all, to discuss the themes, we're going to have to discuss the plot. So, our main character is Sig. He's a nerf herder with his brother Dev. He has friends and all that, but he also, he likes the history of the Star Wars universe, and he doesn't feel like going on an adventure. Yeah, whenever you have a character who doesn't want to go on an adventure in Star Wars, adventure's coming around the corner. And of course, they're herding some nerf, and they fall off the side of a cliff and discover an ancient Jedi temple that holds the cornerstone brick of the galaxy. Mind you, it's actually a plate, a one-by-one plate rather than a brick, but that's not the point. The point is, Dev convinces Sig to remove the plate, and that causes chaos. Everything in Star Wars is rebuilt, it's changed, nothing is the same. Villains become heroes, heroes become villains. Somewhat. There are some exceptions there going on. Some exceptions. We'll talk about those when relevant to the plot. I may miss a few. I just warn you. Anyhow, so Sig is exploring this new galaxy, trying to figure out what is going on because he doesn't understand anything. We have Admiral Akbar clone troopers, his brother's a Sith Lord named Darth Devastator, or Darth Dev for short. Dev's number one apprentice is Rey, so we get Darkside Rey with the double-sided lightsaber that's also like switchblade kind of deal. But Rose Tico's a Sith, so it's Kit Fisto, Darth Jar Jar. Of course, we get Darth Jar Jar. There's a bunch of just crazy stuff going on, but some things oddly are still the same. Like Leia's still the leader of the rebellion, that didn't change. Now Luke, on the other hand, he's this kind of surfer dude, laid back, chill dude. It's just crazy. Crazy stuff is going on in here. Maybe the crazy thing is we got a talking gonk droid because Sig's droid Silver is upgraded, now he can talk, and they did that purely for the comedic stuff and this going on with the opening credits. So, in the opening credits for Star Wars, we have the different helmets, and then Star Wars. Well, it's the Lego helmets version, then Lego Star Wars logo. First two episodes, the same. Third episode, Silver is talking to us, basically kind of like now presenting kind of deal. It's just so fun, but this is the sad thing. We're always afraid in Star Wars that the droid is going to get it, is going to be killed. Many of us was afraid for BB-8 at many points in Star Wars, Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order, especially when he jumped on Darth Vader in not Survivor, Fallen Order. Like, oh come on, don't. Oh, good, he's okay. Well, Silver jumps in front of Sig to save him from Dev, and his bricks fall apart. So finally, that has happened. Why Star Wars? Why? Anyhow. And then, in part 4, just to put in a heart, he's not speaking the opening anymore over the title. He's not doing that anymore. Why? Anyhow, now that the fields are done, at the end, Sig does use his Force Spirit abilities to rebuild Silver, so he's back, thankfully. Silver is back. Our talking gonk droid is back. Silver is back, but not everything is back. Because one of the main messages, the main plot points, is that Sig will never be able to rebuild his galaxy. His galaxy will not return. It's been fundamentally changed, and it won't be coming back without embracing the dark side, which is something he can't never do. And even if it does, it will only be a pale imitation of the galaxy he knows, as showed when his brother, who's not really his brother but still is his brother, that's another plot point I want to mention later, but forces him to rebuild the home planet, which I believe was called Vanessa, and it's just a pale imitation. The one Nerf who never follows orders is all of a sudden following orders. So if it's built on his memory, shouldn't the Nerf not be following orders? But remember, Dev, who has no memories of this, was there, and he wants people to obey him, including his brother, because he's lonely, he's afraid of being alone, but he's not afraid enough in order to give up being on the dark side and being a Sith breaker. Which is what they're calling Sith, who destroys things instead of the Jedi who build things, who are Force builders. Kind of a neat, fun thing, but the thing is, Sig throughout this is guided by a Jedi Master named Jedi Bob. So if you don't know, there was this Lego Star Wars set for the Bad Genosis, which had this generic Jedi figure who everyone calls Jedi Bob. Now, he had a different name, but I don't remember his name, and nobody else in the universe basically does, except for one moment where Sig does. Then Jedi Bob says, yes, you can call me Jedi Bob, and then he changes his mind instantly. No, don't like it. He does not like being called Jedi Bob, but everyone calls him Jedi Bob, which is just great, and he better get used to it because we're all calling him Jedi Bob. There's no changing about that. But he guides Sig on his journey, introduction to the Force, teaching him all that, but also teaching him the lesson that his galaxy can't come back. He initially does not want to say that because he does not want to tell Sig that because he's afraid that Sig will become down, defeated, and won't help put the cornerstone back in the new Force Builder Jedi Temple to hold the new galaxy together. And the reason why he knows that is because of what he went through. Pay close attention. Jedi Bob, he's not cream or brown. He's not any of the modern colors that minifigs are using to show skin tone. He's yellow. Not only was his original minifigure yellow, but that different color is symbolizing it's how he's different, that how he's not from either galaxy because he has this different coloration to him. He's an older generation minifig, for lack of a better term. During his flashback scene where he describes what he did and how he destroyed his own galaxy and then decided to protect the new galaxy when he realized he couldn't restore his old one. One, the aspect ratio changes. Older style of techniques, more of a 4:3 ratio, which used to be way more common for television than the modern formats that we have on Disney Plus and many other streaming services, and TV as well. So not only does that change, but it's only his narration. We don't get any other characters speaking. Now, I would have loved, though, if we had one or two characters that, gave the sounds from the old classic Lego Star Wars video games. That would have been really good. I wish they didn't, but they didn't. But, like, hair pieces and all that, they kept those to the most simplified style of the older in the flashback, which was so great seeing them using how LEGO has changed its designs for its licensed properties in order to communicate to us, the audience, how Jedi Bob's galaxy is different from the new galaxy. It's such a good thing now. Sig's old galaxy is the galaxy that we are familiar with. The new galaxy is totally different. It's mixed and matched. Now, he's not totally different because things are still vaguely familiar for him, but things are different. Things are weirdly mixed matched. We have X-Fighters and TIE Wings, for crying out loud. Mon Calamari Destroyers. Rebel Blockade Runners with Imperial Lambert Shuttle Wings. There's a bunch of crazy mixed match. Admiral Akbar's clone troopers who serve the Empire. Like, things are crazy and different. But that's okay. Because one of the big messages of this is just because things are different doesn't necessarily they're going to be bad. One character, Luke Skywalker, gives this line. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but the point of that line was that in both galaxies it was both good and bad. Some things have changed for the better. Like, good guy Palpatine, he's the leader of the Jedi Order. Yeah, he's a bit of, non-committal, doesn't really want to get involved, but you know what? Jedi Master Vader does. Yes, Jedi Master Vader. I still want to learn how that turned out. How he got his white suit. I want to learn how that actually turned out and what role Palpatine had in all that. Probably made him see the errors of his ways, but does he not know he has children? Which, by the way, his children are good. Yeah, Luke does do a little cheating and pod racing, but, he doesn't have a strong motivation. In our own Star Wars universe we're familiar with, he was going to join the Imperial Academy because he was looking to get off Tatooine. And by the way, Tatooine is this tropical paradise now. But there is a scene where they're in a garbage dump, parallel in the trash compactor, and there's two symbols that look like twin suns, and then Luke strikes the pose from A New Hope, and Sig basically says that some things never change regarding Luke eventually leaving Tatooine. But there's just so much fun stuff. Leia's still a good guy leading the rebellion. Maul's a good guy who's this version of Lando. It's crazy stuff going on. And it's fun and enjoyable, but it's not invalidating the old stuff because at the very end of the series, There's Sig, he's writing down, he's preserving the stories of his galaxy for himself and for other people to enjoy. That's one of the big points of this show. Just because things are different, Han's no longer a scoundrel for a heart of gold. Instead, that's Greedo, who in this galaxy did shoot first, but shot first in terms of getting the princess rather than Han, and that causes him to betray them. But again, Han Solo is no longer somebody with heart of gold. But guess what? Yoda's still good. And you know what? There's still, some characters are still bad. But one of the crazy thing is, C-3PO somehow is now kind of like Triple Zero from the comics. Like, he's a bounty hunter, Ewok bounty hunters. Crazy. Now, granted, Ewoks were always a bit, intimidating. Yes, they look like cute, cuddly teddy bears, but do not get on their bad side. Do not get on their bad side. But the thing is, even with those differences, with some things somewhat similar, some things very different, like I said, we have Darkseid Rey, Darkseid Rostika, who are Darth Devastator's apprentices, like bunch of crazy stuff, but it's still great, fun, and enjoyable, but does not invalidate the old stuff. That's part of what Sig learns, that what's here is here to stay. He can't bring the old stuff back, but that doesn't mean they're lost and forgotten. Those stories, the history of his galaxy, his Star Wars galaxy, still exists in his head, and he decides he's going to preserve that by writing it down for others to share, which is such a good thing. A big thing in the Star Wars fandom is so many fans just can't accept the new stuff. I'm doing a separate video on this, but that is the thing is, just because something is new does not mean it invalidates the old stuff. You can still enjoy the old Star Wars stuff. The new stuff does not take away with it. But at the same time, don't try to replace the new stuff with the old stuff. That's what Darth Devastator was trying to tempt Sig to the dark side with. The old stuff, but it was just a pure imitation of it rather than the actual. The actual stuff is all in Sig's memory and what he decides to write down, not what he's being tempted with. Such a good messaging, and there's so much more I can discuss, but I'm going to leave it open to you. I want to hear your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you always.